But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
60 Minutes released a preview to the upcoming interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. And let's just say this interview did not look good so far. It became clear that in this preview that you're going to see, that she gets totally lost when she has to face a tough question on Israel. Now, before we get to the actual clip, what we're going to do is give you a quick backstory on the implications around this topic about the Hamas and Israel war and the fact that tomorrow is October 7th, which is the anniversary. So the timing of this is not a good look, in my opinion. Let's first start with this clip.
Long-awaited second front in the Israeli war seems to have started this week, not just the pagers, but they're bombing all over the Lebanon yesterday and today. Here's what Kamala Harris said this week about what we should do when the war is over. No reoccupation of Gaza, no changing of the territorial lines of Gaza, and an ability to have security in the region for all concerned in a way that we create stability. I feel like if that's what you have to say, don't say anything. Just shut up. I mean, everybody who talks about Israel these days is just so full of shit. I mean, or just not, I don't want children to die. Duh, who does? None of us want children to die. None of us want this war to go on. But it's not addressing what the problem is. The problem is that one side wants a two-state solution, or at least always did. It's a little more right-wing now. I'm talking about Israel, but that still has been their position. One side never did and still doesn't. One side uses terrorism to get their goals. One side retaliates against terrorism. One side is accused of genocide but doesn't do it. The other side actually would love to do it. People keep saying Israel has the right to defend itself. And then whenever Israel does, they object to it.
Okay, so there are obviously a couple points I want to address, right? I thought that Bill Maher did put it perfectly. I see it the same way that he sees it, and really that I am one of those people who believe that she doesn't know what she's doing. And if she knows what she's doing, she definitely has a terrible skill in showing that, in talking about it. I mean, everything that comes out of her mouth is very surface level. It doesn't make me think she truly understands the implications here. Now, I say that because remember, she's running to be the commander-in-chief. And so when she speaks on an issue, even if she doesn't know what she's talking about, can she at least act like she knows what she's talking about? Can she sound confident in the subject?
She is in a tricky position because Joe Biden is currently the commander-in-chief and she's the VP. So it's very difficult for anybody in her position to kind of thread this needle and say, here's what we should do, here's our plan, when he's the current commander-in-chief. She's in this weird space of like an improv show of like a yes and, yes to what he's doing, and I think we should do this. So it's especially tricky.
But my question to you, I mean, it's an honest question, is she just being vague because the political equities are such that it doesn't pay to be specific? Or does she simply have no idea? And, I am an undecided...
Okay, then that's not an honest question to me, because there's no way you think I'm going to turn and say, you know what, Brett, you're right. She has no idea.
No,
Stephanie Ruhle, she had to do what she's always done, which is try to save Kamala Harris and make excuses for her poor performance as a candidate. And as you've seen with the undecided voter there, who isn't going to vote for Trump, he made it very clear that she doesn't make much sense. And if you're asking an undecided voter to vote for Kamala Harris, especially if you do have a concern when it comes to the Israel and Hamas war, why would you vote for her? She hasn't said anything to give you confidence in her ability to do something about it. So having said that, let's take a look at this preview where she clearly gets lost in answering this question. And you have to wonder when you watch this, What's going through her mind? Did she not rehearse this? I don't understand why that is. We're 30 days from election. By now, she should be in the groove, right? In the rhythm of things. Take a look at this.
We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid. And yet Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. The Biden-Harris administration has pressed him to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. He has promised to make Iran pay for the missile attack, and that has the potential of expanding the war. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu?
The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders.
It just shows you that she's not well versed on this. Remember, she celebrated the fact that she went to negotiate with Zelensky in order to prevent the war between Zelensky and Putin. And what happened 3 days later? They went to war. She's the same person that when Netanyahu went to Congress to give his speech, she was nowhere to be found, right? She ghosted him, okay? This is the same person who's tiptoeing the line, right? She doesn't really want to come out and really show a huge support for Israel and get into the weeds about it, but she also doesn't want to come out and show huge support for people who obviously are on the Palestine side of this, because again, she loses either way. If she truly does what most people are doing right now, which is throwing their support behind Israel and being very clear on where they stand, she's going to obviously piss off a lot of people in her party. And we're talking about the progressive side of it, right? The people who clearly support Palestine. And if she goes all in on Palestine, she's going to piss off people who truly support Israel, which is why she chose Tim Walz and not Josh Shapiro.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
And so her answer on this does not give the American people any level of confidence in her ability to do what needs to be done as commander-in-chief. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I don't believe any side is truly confident in her ability. Now, when it comes to Trump, they can't question his confidence level on what he wants to do about it. When you ask Trump on this issue, he's very clear on what he wants to do. The problem is we don't get that same energy from Kamala Harris. That's my opinion. What about you guys? What do you guys think about this interview that's coming up? What do you guys think about the handling of the Hamas and Israel war so far? Tomorrow will be the anniversary. So if you obviously do know someone personally, family member or friend or anything like that, definitely send them our prayers to them. But what do you guys think overall just about how she handled this interview with what we've seen? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you do want to support the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You can go to the link in the description below, grab yourself a t-shirt or buy yourself a cup of coffee. Thank you so much. Stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.